It's lunchtime. It's 12:30. It's Monday, and we are here again for another live and LinkedIn. Oh my goodness, I am so excited with my guest today. She's been away. She's been away. She has not been on LinkedIn for 10 weeks, which is shocking because she should be here every single day. She knows so much about LinkedIn. She's a brilliant, brilliant LinkedIn expert, but she's also a friend. And it's so long since she's been on my show before. I think we give her a big round of applause when she comes in. Melanie Goodman, how are you?
I'm great. What a great way to start the week. Hi, Ashley.
I know. Just looking at it, like, what have I got next? Oh, it's Melanie. I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. You should be on here more often. You're so much fun. You're so much fun.
Thank you.
So where have you been? Well, yeah, no, my wife says the same about me. But look, here's the thing. Tell us who you are and what you do, and then I'll go in and find out where you've been for 10 weeks.
Sure. Okay, I'm Melanie Goodman, as my headline says. I'm a LinkedIn consultant. I work predominantly with people in regulated sectors, so financial services, insurance, law. So often people who are in sectors where they're sort of nervous to post. Generally people where they have guidelines at least. A lot of management consultants, etc. And I'm also a lawyer, so I draft social media policies for firms, for people's businesses.
Oh, fantastic. What a super duper niche. But you've been away for 10 weeks. Tell us what happened.
Well, I haven't been sunning myself. I can tell you that. I had my account back in when was this? I think it was June. I suddenly 11 o'clock in the morning, I am engaging with people on LinkedIn as always, and suddenly, boom, I get something flash up that says your account is temporarily restricted. And obviously I'm familiar with, I know what these are, these temporary restrictions. I verified my profile, gave them my passport, basically gave them everything that they could possibly want of my data to get my account back. But the computer said no. And this went on for 2.5 months where I couldn't find out what had caused it. So what I'd done wrong, even though I had asked. Because obviously I do know the T's and C's pretty well. I couldn't get.
You're a lawyer. You're a lawyer, so you're gonna know them, aren't you?
Yeah, I've looked at them a couple of times. So so I was stuck in this just talking to customer services people who obviously I'd raised all the support tickets, and it got to the point where they said, we're not answering any more of your emails. Your case is closed. Go away. Have a nice life. In literally those terms, they were like,
seriously,
your future career. And we were very sedate. And I used to get these messages saying, we're sorry that this is not the outcome that you expected. No, it was not.
No stuff, Sherlock.
And I kept saying, but you're not actually reading my emails, or you're not understanding them in a very polite way. And I just kept getting back these formatted, templated emails, basically. I actually went to the offices in Farringdon here in London because I'm lucky enough that I don't live that far. So I presented myself there, and they did give me a little tip, but it was actually too late for me. But for anybody else who has this, and you are within traveling distance of a physical LinkedIn office, don't raise a support ticket. Go straight to the office with your ID, and they old-fashioned fill in a paper and pen form and send it through to the California office. And they told me that is actually the quickest and most effective way to get your account back. Unfortunately, I'd already raised umpteen support tickets because I as most people don't, think that is the best way. So I had already raised lots of support tickets, so I was a bit screwed on that front. I did get a response quickly by doing that, but it wasn't the response I wanted because they were like, you've already got a support ticket open. But top tip, if you can, go to the office first.
Well, it's going to save me 2.5 months. It's worth a 7-hour round trip for me down in Devon, isn't it? That's crazy. So
it is, yeah.
You're back, which is great news. But
I'm back. I was back. I've been back about 3 weeks now. So it feels like I'm back.
Well, it's lovely to have you back. What damage was done to your profile by not being there for 10 weeks?
Surprisingly little, actually. I was expecting to be heavily penalized by the LinkedIn algorithm and my posts to sort of die a death. Actually, they didn't. My sort of comeback post went far and wide, so that was great. And actually, it hasn't affected my reach, and it has definitely put me in probably a better place mentally, because you get stuck when you're on LinkedIn. If you're someone, as many people are, who get in the habit, you go on it every single day or every single morning, you're commenting, you're posting, and social media is 24 hours, it never stops. And it can be quite overwhelming if you don't set boundaries. And it really showed me that, wow, you can actually step away. I mean, I don't generally step away from it, even on weekends. I'm not great at those boundaries. But actually, I realized that even with a 2.5-month break, I came back and nothing had really changed. And I was back. It's fine. If anyone's familiar with the social selling index score, within a week, that was back up to what it was before. And yeah, all was good. I mean, I was just then under the same sort of algorithm challenges as everybody else on LinkedIn, so impressions wise, but I wasn't being personally penalized for being off the platform. So it's heartening for people. If you do get restricted, don't worry, when you come back, you'll be absolutely fine.
No, that's really good news to hear. And you did something clever while you were gone. One thing you did clever was go to Substack, and I'm going to pick your brains on that one. But before you did that, you used your company page. So this is another reason to have a company page. Do you want to explain what you did, please, Melanie?
Yeah, so the first thing that I did when reality hit that I still needed a presence on LinkedIn was to change the look of my company page so that, to, let's say, the untrained eye, and to a lot of people on LinkedIn, it looked basically like a personal profile. So I changed the logo to a photo of myself, my face. I changed the name, although I was quite careful about doing that, because when they've taken you off the platform, they don't want you on the platform. So you need to balance it so that you don't then get picked up by their radar. So that was, I did quite carefully. But to all intents and purposes, I basically restarted my newsletter from my company page. I updated like my feature, all the different features of the. I upgraded to a premium company page because it was then worth me investing in the premium company page subscription. So I had more options, and yeah, I started posting on that. Told people to follow that instead. Shared my, the URL of that, which I search engine optimized the URL of my company page to reflect what I do, and basically made sure that it was all search engine optimized as well as I could possibly make it, as my personal page had been. What I would say is that the posts still don't get the same amount of reach as a personal profile. They don't come up in people's feeds. So luckily I had a lot of sort of loyal followers who would still like and share my posts. But I wouldn't even pretend to say that the reach was the same.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, lots learned here, and an awesome amount of content for you for future stuff. This is brilliant, and this is also, because people do get temporarily restricted, don't they? For all kinds of silly reasons as well. One of the common ones is not having your proper name in your name, isn't it? That's a common reason for getting banned. What other reasons are for getting temporarily restricted?
Having too many tabs open. So if you have, as I am now very careful that I close down my tabs on my Chrome browser as I'm using them, sort of when I finished using them, because if you have, say, 6 or 7 different LinkedIn tabs open, that can trigger their bot to say there's something suspicious going on. If you view too many profiles in a day, if you send the same message to lots of people, like for example, if you're wishing people happy birthday and you don't just press the button, but you send people a personalized message, which is something I do every morning, and I always suggest to people that they do it. I would say it's not something I've actually been restricted for, but I know people who have. That it then looks like you're sending like an automated or a spammy message because you're sending the same thing. So I would always say have like 3 different versions of that happy birthday or congratulations on changing job or whatever message. You know, use, if you're familiar with it, use things like Spintax to, you know, you can go use a Spintax generator, or if you Google it, and then it will come up with 3 different versions of your message to then personalize and send to people, and things like that. So you don't want repetitive, basically it picks up repetitive behavior. So you just want to make sure.
So if you look like a bot, if you look like you're automated, that alerts their bots, and then okay. Because one of my friends was sat in her car waiting for her kid to come out of school, and LinkedIn suggested she connected with this person, and then it's connected with this person. She went connect. She was just 5 minutes waiting for the school gates, and she got banned.
Yeah, exactly. They see any sort of and there is this weird where it's a networking platform, so it should be about meeting new people and reaching out to people you don't know
and connecting.
But if you do too much of that, it then stops you and says you should only be connecting with people you know. So it's a very strange it's a very strange like loophole in their thinking that doesn't quite follow through. But something also that is really common is that sometimes people set up duplicate accounts, often by mistake or because they think they'll do that in case they get banned, but don't do that, because if LinkedIn spot that you've got a duplicate account, you can then they might restrict the wrong one, and then you're in trouble because your actual account will go. So that's quite a big one. I mean, all the other things are sort of obvious things, like if you post something that's very controversial, if you post something that's got anything about gambling or gaming, that can often like people in e-gaming often get banned. If you're in like casinos or something like that. Obviously things like, as you would imagine, like hate speech and harassment should be banned. But yeah, they're the other things. Oh, and AI, if they spot that something is AI generated, they can also take down your account.
We've got to tread very carefully. But if it all goes wrong, there's always Substack. So come on, tell us, what is Substack? I know some people don't know. So what is Substack?
Yeah, so Substack is it's an American platform, and it is growing rapidly for various reasons, mainly because of the features it offers, which I can't think of another platform which offers the same opportunities. For example, for monetization, for building a community, like a membership community. In its simplest terms, it's a place where you can publish notes, which are a bit like tweets. They're like short. If you think of the shortest LinkedIn post that you could do at 4 or 5 lines, that's a note on Substack. So you can post short notes or articles, a lot of long form content. So people write about everything from mindset to AI to wealth management to family offices to marketing. So you can find your niche. What you can't do is it doesn't have search in the way that LinkedIn. You can search for a subject, but you can't search for a person with filters like you can on LinkedIn, like a person who's had 10 years of experience and is based in London and is etc. But it's a great publishing platform. Its tech is far more advanced than LinkedIn when you are publishing. So you can add buttons in the middle of your articles to get people to subscribe, to send them off to another article that you've written somewhere else. To share your article, you can put in buttons. You can put in audio directly from the platform, a voiceover. So like you can do a little voice introduction, which is what I do at the beginning of all my articles on there. You can insert a video really easily. But the absolute best thing about it is, and by the way, I'm not affiliated, so like I'm selling it like I am, but I'm not. You basically, when you get a new subscriber, you get their email addresses, and you are legally allowed to email them because they've agreed to that when they become a subscriber. And they don't have to pay to become a subscriber. They can just be a free subscriber. So it's a bit like having a follower on LinkedIn. So you can follow or you can subscribe. So it's a bit like follow or connect on LinkedIn.
So following on LinkedIn is totally free and you don't know that I'm following you unless you go and look at your followers. But following on Substack means that you've got my email address. So it's going to cost you an email address.
No, they have to subscribe to get the email address. Sorry. So they can follow exactly like follow on LinkedIn. But the difference is when you connect with someone on LinkedIn, you don't necessarily get their email address. You just get their connection, you get their LinkedIn URL. So you can't, unless they've agreed to it, you can't directly take them, put them somewhere else. On Substack, you get their email address. When they subscribe, you actually get their email address, which is like gold. And then every time you publish an article on Substack, you have an option to email it to all your subscribers. So you literally, it means that now I publish something on Substack. So it could be that I publish about going live at an event. It could be, so it could be, an event, it could be an article, it could be a white paper. And that will now go out to it will actually get emailed out to like 25,000 people, which
wow.
Great.
Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. Have you turned that into business? Have people sort of like been following you on Substack and liked your emails and followed your emails and subscribed, and now they're working with you?
Exactly. So the great thing about Substack is, which you can't do on LinkedIn, is you can't, or I say directly monetize it. So on LinkedIn, of course, you can monetize it, as we all do, by growing relationships with people, and then they want to work with you. But by that time, you've taken them usually off LinkedIn and you've spoken to them, had a Zoom call, etc., and sort of nurtured, and you get to know each other. But on Substack, someone likes your content, they can directly subscribe. They can be a free subscriber, and you can tell them what they get for that. But then they have an option of either a monthly subscription, an annual subscription, or I have a VIP subscription. And you can set that up however you want. So for me, the way I do it is everybody can subscribe for free, and they get access to the chat. We have there's a link tank. My platform there is called the Link Tank. And everyone can come in and chat in the chat. They can see the post, they can ask questions. But if they want to join the monthly Q&A that I host, masterclasses, certain premium content, then they need to be a paid subscriber, and then they get a one-to-one coaching session with me if they're a VIP subscriber. So so that's and there's various ways of there's sort of various ways that you can set up your subscriptions, and it's amazingly set up. Whereas I don't know whether do you have a community, a paid community, Ashley?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So from my experience of doing, because I did a paid community quite a few years ago when I started Trevorzan, and I set it up on a different platform. So then you have to pay for a different platform, and there's quite a lot of tech involved, and you have to set it up. This is all done for you. It's literally done for you. So you don't pay a monthly fee to Substack. They take a percentage of the people that subscribe, that pay for the subscription.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
wow. This is absolutely brilliant. And so I've been doing a little bit, but it's hard to do everything, isn't it? So how do you carve out the time? Because you're doing amazing stuff on LinkedIn. How do you carve out the time to do Substack as well?
Good question. I don't sleep much. It is hard. I have to say, since I've been back on both. So there's a lot of repurposing involved. So I'm trying to be sensible and repurpose, because one piece of content can be repurposed into 7 or 8 different pieces of content. I'm sure, as you know, you could take the transcript from this and create LinkedIn posts. You could create a short YouTube short. You can create an article or a newsletter out of it. So I think the key is often repurposing. But of course, engaging with the rest of the community is, on any platform, the way that you grow your network and grow your community. So I try and regulate myself. So I always go on LinkedIn first in the morning and do all my engagement and look at other people's posts and comment and try and support everybody on LinkedIn. And then after that, I will go on to Substack, when I've done my post and I've engaged on LinkedIn, I'll then move over to Substack and try and do the same there. But like, you know, I schedule my notes now on Substack in the same way that I might schedule my LinkedIn post, because otherwise you just have a breakdown. I mean, there's only so many hours in the day, and we've all got client work to do as well. I mean, you can't spend the entire day on social media.
That's the trouble, isn't it? That's the trouble. And the thing is, your content is so good.
Well, thank you.
That's the other thing. Let me just give a shout out to Michal. He's been here a while. He's apologising for being late. You don't need to apologise, mate. You just turn up when you want. You can always watch the replay. So yeah, good to have you here. So if I was starting out in business today, okay, I'm going to set up a business selling yellow cups. All right, that's the first thing I saw. Do I go on LinkedIn or Substack? Which one?
Oh, good question. If you're starting a business, I would go on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So
if I was starting a business, I would go on LinkedIn, and then I would use the content that you are creating for LinkedIn on Substack. Okay. I would just use the same content. Well, I would change it a bit because the format of the way, it's a different platform. So what works on one platform isn't exactly the same as on another. You know, it's much shorter form. Initial writing an article on Substack, the short form notes are very short form. They're like tweets, a bit like Twitter tweets. So that it's a different style. Okay. But yeah, if I was starting a business, I would start on LinkedIn.
Yeah, good. That's all right. That's fine. So, but I've watched webinars recently where some social media gurus come on and said you've got to be on all of them and you've got to post every day on all of them. I'm like, when do you get your job done? And you've got to.
Yeah, no, I mean, there is a particular social media guru, and he says that he was doing like 250 comments a day, and I actually said, I mean, that to post 250 comments, or until he did it in like the first hour of the day or something, or 2 hours, is basically an impossibility. To be writing something that's insightful and that's really going to grow a relationship with somebody or to make your comments stand out is almost impossible unless you were to automate it. So I would never suggest to anybody that they do that. I would normally say 10 to 20 comments a day would be ideal, like quality comments that actually, you know, people are happy to receive because they make I try and always ask a question back to the person, so it actually makes their post go out further where I can. Or, you know, rather than just saying great, congratulations. So, or I try and add a statistic where I can. I try and do a very quick piece of research, add a statistic to sort of give a bit more weight to what they're saying or what I'm saying, and just try and make it a useful comment. I'd rather do less comments that are useful than 100. A comment that says great. Just do a like. I'm going to do that. So.
Yeah, a comment that says great post or well done or good point. You might as well just put your thumb up, and then what's the point of that?
Well, that's why I might as well just like it. Or I'm now trying to save posts for people, because I know that helps their posts. If you save a post, that's it worth even more than a comment to the person who's posted it, because the LinkedIn algorithm picks up that people think it's valuable because they've saved it. So the more people you can get to save your post, the better. But I mean, I have to say, I haven't really resorted to quickly, even like messaging connections, go quickly save my post, please, because then you would also people's box, like saved inboxes would get clogged up. They saved every post, but it is, you know, I might sometimes say to somebody, this is really useful, I've saved it in the comment, and that will help their post. So.
Yeah, no, that's a great thing to do. So what's the first thing we do when we come onto Substack then?
The first thing you do when you come onto Substack is, I would say, I would do a little note to your audience, which you don't yet have on Substack, to say I'm looking to engage or network with or support the posts of people who are also interested in whatever it is that you do or you're interested in. And a lot of people, it's quite a trending type of post on there, is to say, I want to connect, I want to like engage with people who've got less than 200 subscribers. which means that then you tend to get a lot of people who also have small networks come and want to chat to you. And really engaging on other people's posts is the best way, putting out articles on there that then people find. But what you can do, and this is the fastest way to grow your audience, is you can import lists of people who you already have in your world before you went to Substack. Substack allows you to import lists. You have to say that they have given consent to be emailed because you are uploading their email addresses. So the way I've done it, and it's worked well for me, I haven't had anyone get annoyed, is I add them. They're all people I'm already connected to, so they're not random people. And I send them an email with it that says we are already connected on LinkedIn. This is the difference. This is where I share, say, my premium strategies and etc. in much more depth. And I run masterclasses, and you can join the chat and the Q&As, etc. You know, I really hope that you'll join me here, and that's the quickest way to sort of instantly grow. So it's worth, you know, it's worth having that substantial audience on LinkedIn so that you can move them over.
Okay.
The problem with LinkedIn, of course, is that they belong to you.
Are we going to do LinkedIn? Are we going to do some free training today? If I share my screen, what do you think?
Fine.
You up for that? Okay, I've never done this live, but look, here's my Substack, and look who comes up top.
Whoa! I actually can't. Probably because I'm extremely short-sighted and getting old. I can't see it in the middle of the.
So what I can see, it looks like a normal feed. So I've got Melanie Goodman. LinkedIn helps you get visibility. Substack helps you build depth. So I can add a comment to that. So if I click add a comment.
Yeah, so it's like LinkedIn. So what you can do is you can add a comment. I'll show you what you can do. It features are very similar, but just called something different to LinkedIn. So you then add that. Right, and I'll show you what
I've just written here. Lovely to have you on my live show. Lovely to have you on my live show today. Your content is epic.
Thank you. And then so if you, then you click that, and you see underneath the post, there's a little circle, like a like a repeating sort of stuff. So that's like a repost. Yeah, exactly. So that is the equivalent of repost on LinkedIn. It's called restack on Substack. So and you can either just restack it, which is just like repost, or which is basically the same as like sharing on LinkedIn. Except you don't get penalized for it. So people love
on that as well. And so what if I want to write my own? What do you call a post? This is just a post.
It's called a note. It's called a note on. So it's really weird. So on Substack, a post is an article, and the equivalent of a LinkedIn post is called a note. So you'll just go to where it says create. I think it's bottom left.
So right at the top it says what's on your mind. Is that adding a thing? Oh yeah, note.
Yeah, so that's adding a note. Oh, yeah. So then you just add. So then and people just add notes of like 1 or 2 lines. So and it's amazing. People have gone like viral with they've literally written like a couple of lines, and you're like, wow, how did they do that? I want to write something like that. So it's like I look around my office and think, oh, I'll write about the painting on the wall. I'll write 2 lines that sounds really cryptic and see if it goes viral. You know, it's that sort of funny, like that there are some notes like that. I try and keep mine like I do on LinkedIn, fairly practical. It's probably a good reflection of me anyway. And I try and stay in my zone of what I know and what I think I'm probably good at, and I think that works. You know, rather than trying to.
Well, it has. How many followers have you got now, Melanie?
On LinkedIn?
No, on Substack.
On Substack, about 25,000.
Wow!
But a lot of those are my LinkedIn connections. So a lot of my LinkedIn connections followed me over. They're happy to follow me over.
Right, we got someone here. It says LinkedIn user because there's something you've got to do on LinkedIn to allow your name to be on live. So I'll just say hello. If you want to put your name in again, I'll give you a name check. But I set up Substack a few months ago, but haven't used it. Found it difficult finding a UK audience, but need to visit. But you've just got to go for it, I guess. Melanie, any advice to this lovely person?
Yes. what I did was I literally used search with, so I just added a keywords and UK or keyword and London, and found people that way when I wanted to be UK centric. For me, it's not a huge issue where people I engage with are based. I mean, there's a few places that are less useful than others, but for the most part, it's for me it's not an issue. But yeah, I mean, you can search. It's not, but it doesn't. And this is where it differs from LinkedIn. It doesn't have the detailed search criteria that LinkedIn and LinkedIn Sales Navigator offer. So from that point of view, it's not as sophisticated search wise. That's actually the only downside I have found of it so far.
Yeah, no, cool. We've overrun. I never overrun. Melanie, you have been absolutely brilliant. Before we say goodbye, I just want to give a shout out to Angie, who's coming on next week. She's the colourful coach, so we're going to be talking colour. I hope she mentions yellow. I hope she does. Melanie, how can people find you?
Of course you will.
How can we find you?
On LinkedIn, if they type in Melanie Goodman, they can find me. And on Substack, my publication is called The Link Tank.
The Link Tank. That'll be in the show notes when you listen on the podcast. Melanie, thank you so much. It's always a breath of fresh air having you on the show. So thank you so much. Thank you to everybody for all your comments. We will be back next week with the lovely Angie, like I said. Melanie, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
You take care. Cheerio. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching or listening to my show this week. I want to bring to you people that can help us running our business. I love having a chat. I'm very nosy, very curious, and I'd love to ask questions. So if you want to be a guest, or if you've got some ideas for guests, let me know. And if you want me to help you with your LinkedIn, get in touch, because I want to give you a voice. Now, that could just be using LinkedIn, but I do other things as well. So I can help you with a podcast, a live show, and all kinds of other amazing things. So get in touch. My name is Ashley Leeds. I'm the 15-minute guy, and you can find me on LinkedIn.